directly applying the cannabis bud is very beneficial.
Like after it's been dried out and everything?
Well, when it's an open sort. And so there are benefits in the raw plant. You can make a tea out of it, just cook it in water and strain it out, and you're going to get some benefits from that. Maybe not as intoxicating as you would like, but THC acid does have certain effects mentally. That being said, it's much more beneficial when you decarboxylize it, and that's the term used for converting THC acid over to THC. I think we've explained in class a little bit before about that last semester, didn't we? Or I can't remember. None of you guys were here at last year's lecture, right? Okay. Well, I'm sure a couple of you guys, sorry, I should say. Okay. THC acid is converted often, when we smoke it in combustion, you gotta get it to a certain temperature, and then it becomes THC, which is what is ultimately the most beneficial, chemical in the plant. And actually CBD, CBN, and probably the whole group of cannabinoids are in acid form. I'm not sure about that, but I know those three are. And they have different temperatures that they convert over to THC, CBD, and CBN. And so the different forms of extraction and the different temperatures that you bring it to and the length of time that it's kept at that temperature all determine how much THC acid is converted to THC, and if any of the cannabinoids or other terpenes or flavonoids are destroyed because there's too much heat. That can be a problem. If we advise people to cook it at 300 for half an hour. And there's other ways of doing it. Some recipes will say 325 degrees for 15 minutes. I guess I don't like it for two reasons. One, ovens aren't as, scientific as we'd like them to be. So we often will put an actual thermometer in the oven. Like you can buy them, and that way you know what temperature it's at. Because I've seen some really horrible ones. The ones up island when we taught the club up there how to make stuff, it was like less than 200 on the dial, and it was over or slightly over 300 in the actual oven. So it would have been really dangerous to use the temperature we advised if you didn't know that was happening. And so the other reason of not doing it for 15 minutes at 325 is because a lot of us smoke pot. And so you'll stick something in the oven and then you go to smoke a joint, but you got to make your tea before you smoke a joint, and then by the time you've done that, it's been 20 minutes and you've burnt it, and that's just not good. So giving a half hour at a low temperature just kind of helps with a few of those. So anyway, after you decarboxylize it, again, you just grind it up, stick it in the oven, and it smells a lot. And if you seal it or somehow get it in a metal container, but the most common thing is to just get some tin foil. This is a new trick. We didn't put this one in the cookbook we just released, but I've learned this one. We're evolving. So apparently if you take some tin foil and seal up the baking pan, you limit the amount of oxygen in there, and then the essential oils don't burn off as much, because they apparently need some oxygen to bind to. And so you limit the smell, because if you don't seal it, it smells beautiful, but it's a low-level vaporizer, cheap man's vaporizer if you're using leaf. But certainly if you are using a vaporizer, you should be eating the rest of it, honestly, because it's been decarboxylized and there's still a lot left. But anyway, you pull that out of the oven and then you stick it in your butter. You'll usually bring your butter to pretty much in a double boiler up to 100 degrees, and then skim the stuff off the top, and then you'll cook it in there. Or you can use other vegetable oils and stuff like that. Double boil it for 4 to 6 hours, strain it out with cheesecloth, and there you go. Our recipes and everything in our cookbook. So I don't really want to get over that too much. Krista?
I've heard another method where people end up pouring water into their leaf butter, so to separate it out. Why do we strain through cheesecloth instead?
Some people, there's various methods to do it. Some people use water in various stages of this, mostly in my opinion to get the chlorophyll and some of the the leaf tastings out of it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's all goodness, and if you're baking it properly, the taste isn't that great anyway. Otherwise, I'm not sure why they use these other water methods. As far as I'm concerned, they're just not worth the time and the energy that it takes. It's easier to do it these other methods.
I know why.
Oh.
Because a lot of people, we don't know what they spray on their plants. So I do it with my sister because I don't want any toxicities going to somebody that's tumors. You know what I mean? So Schultz's or anything they'd be spraying on that plant, I have no idea. Nobody will tell you the truth because it's not regulated, it's not things, so we don't know because people grow pot to get the pot off, not to, that's the sad part of the pot.
So I brought some of our products from the Buyers Club here. You can use leaf or bud when you're making food or skin products. They do have different effects. The way we generally describe it is the products made with bud have more THC, so they're more of a painkiller. And the products made of leaf have got less THC and more CBD, which is primarily a muscle relaxant. So this is so this here is actually a massage oil. The effects of cannabis I may have mentioned before, but they're antibiotic, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antiseptic, antioxidant,
Anti-carcinogen?
or anti-carcinogenic, muscle relaxing, and painkillers.
The thing to remember about the oils from pot when extracted is that they're soluble. Like they will absorb into the skin. That's why they can be used for food, and that's why they can be used for skin products because they're soluble, right?
Okay, well,
other oils sit on the surface, right?
On that note, with our food and skin products, we've done a couple of things. Because on one hand, there's the extraction from the leaf, and then on the other hand, there's the absorption into the body. And so there's various means to do that, but by using olive oils and adding in lecithin, our sort of secret ingredient we try to tell everybody about, we've hoped to enhance the absorption capacity, I guess, or speed at which these cannabinoids can enter in the blood system. Now, it's not as fast as alcohol. You'll hear about different products being made. I've actually got the Vicks Cannabis, which is essentially a tincture, which is alcohol with the cannabis put into a spray bottle. Alcohol is also really good at extracting THC and cannabinoids from the plant.